In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about knowing how to edit, wanting a VIP library card, having a bisexual awakening and shipping brain, changing topography through sex, and being made of spite in our discussion of Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. So good.
I always would love to know if an author ever sees our post and would tag them in and goes, what the fuck have they read?
What the fuck is brain?
What and who is brain?
What is brain? What is
Who
this?
had the bisexual awakening? Why are you talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger and Patrick Swayze in my book? You gotta have one or two that make sense, but then you gotta have the rest that makes people go, what?
What?
Should I have the book?
Oh gosh. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult, and sometimes other books, series, authors, voice actors, and illustrators that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire. And today we're going to discuss Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros.
Standard disclaimer. If you haven't read this book, we've given you plenty of fucking time to read this book, by the way. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book. Then come back. Ooh, especially the dramatized version.
Spoilers! And the spoiler disclaimer.
If you haven't done this but want to pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just like the show so much that you don't care about any of that, then listen up.
I'm sorry, not sorry that is going to be constant all the way through.
It's our own fault, Claire. It's our own fault.
I blame past us.
I do
for talking about it.
It's fine. So this episode, friends, is going to be I don't know how long, because the book is I don't know how long. So
I'm going to say 2.5 hours.
2.5.
Let's see if I Let's see.
Okay, I like it. It's a long one. It's a big one. Dig in, because this book is seriously like 1,200 pages long. So.
And then
some. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the background information isn't that past Amanda and past Claire set up us as victims to. I'm sure you've got other background information, probably more pertinent background information.
We do. I read. I'm trying not to read a lot about this series on the internet, which is difficult because a lot of people are talking about it. But I really don't want to know anything about future. Book 3, Onyx. What is it? Onyx Storm is coming out in January, so I really don't want to accidentally read anything that is going to put me in a different headspace. I don't want to think about things. I just want to enjoy these books as they come out. So I'm trying not to read a whole lot on the internet about it. But I did find this article with Variety, and it came out before Iron Flame came out, and they were talking about, honestly, fucking how long this book is. And it's the editor's, I don't want to say it's the editor's fault, but it's the editor who made the decision to keep it as one book in 2 parts instead of splitting it.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm going to say the word blame.
I kind of want to say the word blame too.
Might be, I'm just skipping ahead, might be my initial thoughts.
Blame. I'm not gonna read this whole section from the interview, but that is what I took from it. Like, Rebecca thought this is probably 2 books, and her editor was like, nah dog, it's 1 book, and now it's 1 book. And it's my initial thought,
623 pages.
It's too long.
I think the first thing I wrote in our notes is this was 3 stories in one book.
Yes. It's too long for me. I don't want to talk more about that right now. I really want to get into it later when we discuss.
Let's go to this interview.
Yeah.
Give us the snips.
The snips in the interview, that's it.
Oh, is that it?
It's
Wow.
yeah. They went back and forth about it for a long time. And basically the editor was like, "Nah, dog, it's one book." And so she was like, okay.
So really, the editor doesn't know how to edit, because even in the interview, like, you know, I'm looking at what you've linked, and damn, even the interview's long. Right, everybody, pause and go and get yourself a beverage,
Yes,
a nice
get
snack.
a snack.
It's a festive season. If you're in the UK, nice tub of quality streets or celebrations or heroes, you know, a nice hot beverage, or, you know, some seasonal variety of things. What can you have that's a seasonal kit? Oh, you sent me some little Christmas trees.
I did send you. Now, spoiler alert for your Christmas present this year. I did not send you any Christmas cakes this year.
That's fine. That's
And,
fine. I'm going to baking lots over
right,
Christmas.
and honestly, a baked treat is better than this boxed goodie. So, spoiler alert. I did have some, but I couldn't fit them in the box. So I had to cut it.
fair.
We had to leave it.
See, this is how you edit.
Yeah.
You look at it and say the content is complete. I will edit.
Yes.
And you
I
edit
did.
it. Well
I did.
done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
you.
Good job.
Okay.
Good job. Okay.
Shall we dig into this summary?
Yes.
All right. Seriously, get ready, because it's a lot. Violet is alive after being stabbed by a venom because her brother, Brennan, is alive. Brennan is alive. Does everyone remember ending book 1 going, "Holy shit, Brennan is alive"? He heads off to a meeting as lieutenant colonel, and Violet, not ever one to be left alone or do what she's told, follows. Imogen and Bodhi are outside the meeting room, and they all listen in. They learn that if Orisha doesn't get a new luminary, they will be overtaken in their war against the Venom in less than a year. A war that Violet didn't even know was a thing. They also learn that most people don't trust her because of who her mother is. But she has 2 dragons who vouch for her, and Xaden too. So, like, you gotta trust her. Shut up, everyone. Can she trust Xaden, though? And here enters the part where Amanda constantly rolls her eyes, and it's already started, friends. Xaden lied about knowing Violet's brother was alive. Her dragon, Tern, chimes in that she wouldn't have been able to do anything without knowledge, and yeah, it's true, but she's still upset. But that's per usual with Xaden. Violet reaches for Andarna and can feel her connection, but can't communicate with her. She's probably exhausted about stopping time again in the final battle in Book 1. For full details, please go back and listen to that episode.
A spoiler, I nearly pulled an eye muscle or 2 because of the amount of eye rolling I did over the same issue. Yeah, the twitch has already started. Okay, Brennan and Violet discuss the revolution and how them being overtaken by Venom will take closer to 6 months than a year, like everyone thinks. Oh, yay. They have a ward stone, but it doesn't work, and they don't have a luminary that can create weapons to fight Venom. So they're pretty much screwed, if we're being perfectly frank. Violet refuses to believe that the ward stone can't be restored to work again, but the only place that would have the information is with the scribes in Biscayeth. But there's no way they can go back there. Or is there? Oh.
Brennan can't discuss any other details of the battles or their plans because Violet can't shield her mind against Dane. Fucking Dane.
Oh, fuck off, Dane.
She leaves to visit her dragons and is shocked to see that Andarna is twice the size that she was just a couple of days ago, which is fucking insane. Her golden scales have turned to shimmery, iridescent-y black Not unlike my lipstick friends today, everyone.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Join our Patreon to be able to see the video of Amanda's lipstick.
I chose it especially.
Makes a great Christmas gift.
It does.
Give it.
Excuse me. Okay.
Oh,
She's no longer gold, friends. She is shimmery, iridescent-y black, and it seems that she was forced to grow after using her powers. She's an adolescent now, meaning she's a crazy, moody teenager, and we all immediately love her. Xaden arrives soon and promises to work very hard every day to regain Violet's trust. Violet tells Xaden and their friends that they have to go back, because if they don't, the marked ones, like Xaden and the rest of the children of the rebellion who were left behind in Basgiath, will be killed. They plan to leave immediately to make it back in time for graduation.
After arriving in Basgiath and formulating a plan to tell everyone how they're still alive without outing anyone who tried to kill them or reveal that they're part of the revolution, Violet corners Xaden and confronts him about keeping things secret from her. He tells her that he will tell her anything about himself that she wants to know, but that's not what she wants. She wants to know everything all the time, and frankly, it ain't just gonna work, love. You know, it's just not going to work. In order to lead a revolution, Xaden, you know, he might have to keep secrets. Potentially. Violet wants to issue an ultimatum, because we all love ultimatums. They're the best things ever. But graduation interrupts them. They'll line up with the other cadets, and when the death roll is read and Xaden's name is called, he steps out and announces that he's still alive. Yeah.
Xaden and Violet step up and explain to Colonel Atos and Violet's mother, General Sorengale, the story that they concocted about how they're still alive. They said they were sent by Atos to an outpost but were attacked by griffin flyers, and that Violet was stabbed with a poison blade, and that several of their friends died. All of that is true, with very important pieces edited out.
It's amazing how you can edit things.
Atos calls them deserters and says that no dragons could have been killed by griffins, and then they quietly say to him that, you know, if he'd like to explain to everyone what is capable of killing dragons, to please do. But he obviously refuses, telling them they won't get away with this.
One for you meddling
I know,
kids.
I just almost said the exact same thing. Witch.
Violet's mother is pleased that her daughter is still alive, and Violet believes that her mother had no idea of Atos's plan to send them off to be killed by venom. They go back to their places in line, and Dane tries to rush up and grab Violet, happy to see she's alive. She makes a big scene about him touching her, and that if he ever does again, she'll cut his arms off. I actually do appreciate that. You know, you ask before touching people. Xaden confirms, and Dale tells Dane he's lost, even though there was like nothing going on between Violet and Dane to begin with. I mean, you know, obviously Dane wanted that to happen, see book one, but Violet's like, nah, dog. So he had better not touch her again. Xaden graduates and promises to see Violet before he's sent off for his new duty. She goes off to party.
At the party, Violet's friends ask her what it was like fighting actual griffins, and she struggles with lying to them. They didn't fight against griffins. They fought alongside them to take down mythical creatures from bedtime stories. Imogen, who's never really stood up for or complimented Violet before, says they all would have died without Violet and Xaden, not just their friend Liam and another friend that I didn't even include because she wasn't that important. They drink to Liam's honor. Liam is important, friends.
Liam's very important.
Liam.
I'm so sad to his death. Liam's amazing.
Sorry,
Before
other
Xaden
friend.
leaves, R.I.P. other people. Before Xaden leaves, they learn from Atos that they will only be given leave to see each other on alternating fortnights, meaning that they will only see each other every 7 days. Their dragons cannot be apart for more than 3, so, you know, we'll see how that one goes. Honestly, middle management making bad decisions.
It's horrible.
It's
horrible.
He also introduces him to Varish, a new commander at the academy, who seems maybe even more horrible than Atos. Though Atos does make sure to threaten Xaden and Violet's sister Maya too. before they leave. Violet struggles with Satan leaving because obviously she loves him and don't want to bang, but also doesn't want anything to do with anyone. But also doesn't want anything to do with him since, he can't tell the truth about everything all the time. And really...
It's already annoying.
Violet?
It's already so annoying.
Yeah. I mean, we're like 10 pages in here. Come on. We'll see how this one goes. Annoyingly, spoiler alert, but we'll see how this one goes.
Everyone is assigned new stations and new wing leaders and squad leaders, and no one is shocked that Dane is Fourth Wing's new wing leader since Xaden graduated. But Rhiannon, our bestie Rhiannon, is new squad leader, so that's good.
Yes.
Orientation for a new second-year class begins with a new teacher telling them that they will learn about survival if they're captured, which will include random abductions, interrogations, and torture.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
That's great. Oh, so great. Violet really needs to learn to shield her mind completely since she's got an entire rebellion to protect. She decides to take matters into her own hands to help the rebellion by going to see her friend Jasenia, the scribe, to see if there are any old texts about why Basgiath was built where it was, which is really a sneaky way to see if there's any old information about the wards. Jasenia brings her some scrolls, which is a good sign.
You should always be friends with a librarian.
Always.
Oh god, I cannot wink sometimes. See, there's a fun fact about me. Sometimes I just cannot wink properly.
I want to just take that clip out because your wink was, it was everything.
It was just the worst. There you go, Christmas special wink for everybody. Anywho, time comes for the new first years to cross the parapet, and it's nearly as bad watching as it is crossing it. You know what, actually I think crossing it would be worse.
Probably, yeah.
Just,
Probably, yeah.
Violet collects the names of those who come to cross and is shocked when she sees an old friend of hers, Cam, but he gives her a different name, Arik. Dane sees the arrival and is also shocked. They're surprised because it's the son of the king! And if the king found out that his third son was trying to hand at becoming a dragon rider, well, he'd be pissed. Violet gets another shock when she sees Sloane Mari, little sister of Liam, who absolutely fucking hates Violet's guts and blames her for her brother's death. Violet promised Liam she would take care of Sloane and, she just might die trying.
Probably. And I'd probably be okay with it. Yeah. After everyone crosses the parapet, about a third of them dying in the process, one being violently thrown off by a massive meathead, all the new students gather with the second and third years as dragons land nearby. The same thing happens every year to weed out the weak, and as per usual, some newcomers run in terror and get torched. This time is different, though. Varish's dragon, Solus, aims his flaming breath right at Violet. She throws herself over Sloane, who's, right there next to her, and gets burned badly, but at least she doesn't die like several others, newcomers and older students alike. Well, that can't be good at all. It gets worse, though, friends, when the dragon prepares for a second fire breath, again aimed right at Violet. Luckily, Tarn lands and snaps at Solus, threatening to devour him whole and let him rot inside his belly. We love Tarn. If Varish didn't hate Violet before, he certainly does now.
To be fair, Varish, that's not cool. It's not cool.
No, not at all.
No. Violet begins the next day with a run, wanting to be prepared should a venin attack and draw all the life out of the ground, and Imogen joins her. Soon classes start, and the first one is Battle Brief, where the professors and scribes tell everyone lies about attacks supposedly done by griffins. Were they attacking, or was it the venin? If they did attack, was it in search of weapons to destroy the venin and wyverns? Probably, but none of the teachers would ever say that. Violet can't trust anyone or anything she's learning anymore, which makes her seek out Bodhi after class, offering to help more with the rebellion. But of course none of the marked ones will let her help because Xaden told them all not to let her. Well, there is one thing she can do better than all the others. Study. She digs back into her research about the wards. Oh, we love a research moment.
We do. It's time for the first-year students to have their ranking battles, but everyone is there to watch. The massive meathead guy stomps across the floor looking for Violet, and one of her friends, Nadine, with purple hair, says, "She's Violet," just joking, and massive meathead immediately snaps her neck. Violet whips a couple of her daggers at him, but he comes at her nonstop and strangles her. She eventually kills him by stabbing him repeatedly in the kidneys while staring into his bulging red eyes.
Oh, that sounds nice.
She insists on staying for the rest of the rankings, even though she should definitely go to the healers. But she definitely knows that Dane's father is responsible for this lunatic trying to kill her because he said, "Secrets die with the people that keep them." Speaking of healers, Violet's favorite healer, Nolan, has been run ragged lately, according to Rhiannon, and they all think it's because Varish is torturing people and having Nolan heal them just so he can torture them more.
Oh, again, threatening me with a good time. Violet is still feeling shitty after her strangulation, but her spirits lift when she gets back to her room and senses Xaden inside. They are flirty, but Violet is still adamant that she can't be with Xaden because of their trust issues. No, sorry, it's her trust issues.
It is, 100%.
They sexually reminisce about destroying armoires like they used to, but no trust. Before Xaden leaves, he tells Violet where she can find him when he's stationed in Samara and gives her a letter he wrote in an attempt to let her know everything about him and his life. Oh my god, he did it, Mr. Darcy. As much as Violet loves the letter, it's still not enough. He needs to dive into a lake, come out with a wet shirt.
After her next run with Imogen, Violet spots Jasenia anxiously waiting for her. She brought a book on the first 6 Dragon Riders, one of the earliest books they have access to that can leave the archives. She also asks for Violet's help translating another old book, one in a dead language, which she helps with quickly. Jasenia is nervous asking for help because she's not supposed to, but she tells Violet that the scribes are translating everything out of dead languages for, in very heavy, serious quotes, ease of reading. Is that true? Or are they just, destroying more old information to protect the secret of the venom? I wonder.
It's all a bit sus.
Jasenia gets even more nervous when they turn and see a cadet being dragged away, presumably for some sort of punishment. Jasenia says she gave him a book to read, and it seems like she probs shouldn't have done that.
And she only gave him Hungry Caterpillar as well. Oh my god.
Spoiler alert, he dies.
Oh, wah wah.
For reading The Very Hungry Caterpillar.
On their way to flight training later, Rhiannon delivers mail to her friends, which is a second-year treat. Violet was hoping for a letter from Xaden and seems crestfallen to get a letter from her sister, Mira, instead. She is also feeling bad about not telling Rhiannon, her best friend, anything going on in her life, but it's to keep her safe, or so she keeps telling herself repeatedly. She decides to let Rhiannon know about her relationship with Xaden, or, lack thereof. As they chat, Violet looks through Mira's letters and finds it's been redacted. So who's reading her mail? Atos? Varish? Rude.
When they arrive at the field, Varish approaches Violet and Tarn and forces her to have Andarna present at the next flight training, or else. Andarna isn't the little golden dragon she used to be and that Varish is expecting. She's a black dragon now, as mentioned earlier, and she's supposed to be in the dreamless sleep that all dragons go through to safely age. Varish mentions Violet's late father writing about feather-tailed dragons, or, babies, essentially, and now how strange it is that Violet has bonded to one. She asks Taryn about this, but he doesn't know anything, or claims not to know anything, and then he threatens to eat Varish again, which we all hope he will do eventually.
I mean, don't let us put you off, mate. Would you like some hot sauce with that, or some garlic mayo dip? Do you want some ranch?
Yes.
We really hope you will. Preferably with ranch, when later Maudie walks Violet to meet Dan so they can go see Xaden. He tells her that he was attacked in the shower and Imogen was attacked as well. And then they are approached by Varish, and two cronies who search Violet's bag before she takes off. Varish tells her he's working on her punishment for dereliction of duty since he hasn't seen Andara.
When Violet arrives at Samara, she finds Xaden in a fight club, and she realizes that he's still deliciously sexy, and she still wants him and is still in love with him. They fiercely make out because she just can't stop herself. And Xaden tells her he wants her, but he wants her to love him more. So they don't go any farther than kissing intensely. They have a discussion about wards and the weapons that can kill venom and how they essentially have to be recharged. Violet asks Taryn about wards later, but although he is crotchety, friends, he wasn't around 600 years ago when they were made.
It's just his personality.
Yeah.
Love it. Unfortunately, upon return, they are summoned by Varish and Carr for Violet's punishment. Varish forces Violet to wield her lightning signet until she nearly dies of burnout. Carr seems concerned and angry with Varish, but it's probably just because Violet's signet is so powerful. Tarn flies her away and dunks her into a river below and summons her friends who help her get back to her room.
Later, watching Sloane fail miserably at sparring, Violet makes a plan to poison her opponent at her next match, just like she used to do for herself. Does everyone remember that? It was really smart and cool. That might not happen, though, because on her way to her next class, a bag is thrown over Violet's head and she passes out. When she wakes up, she and her friends and several others are in a wooded area that they are not familiar with and are made to drink water, but it's actually a potion that makes them lose their connections with their dragons and their signets, which seems wildly unnecessary. They are made to work together to find their extraction point on a map, but they didn't know that they were given 2 different maps. It's clear that everyone needs to learn how to communicate because they fail this lesson miserably.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
Violet talks to Jacinia and she knows that Violet is up to something and promises to keep her secret safe. She didn't report last year when Violet asked for the book of fairy tales, aka the book about venom, that Violet's father had, so Violet knows she can trust her scribe friend. See, you can trust librarians. Trust your librarian friends,
always.
People.
Yes.
They discuss whether the archives just don't contain the information or whether they're hiding it or even changing it. Violet asks for information about the wards and Jacinia promises to deliver one of the oldest books they have, but she asks to read Violet's fairy tale book in exchange. Interesting.
Violet goes to see Xaden, but is escorted by Varish, who threatens her again for not producing Andarna, who is still in the dreamless sleep. Unfortunately, Xaden is forced to be on duty the entire time that they're supposed to be together, which he does note in a letter that he believes to have been done on purpose to keep them apart. Yeah, duh. It's obvious Varish is punishing everyone involved with the incident that Atos set up, trying to kill them all at the end of book 1. But, like Xaden and Violet, the most.
Definitely.
Kill them the most.
Yes. Kill them once, kill them twice, kill them thrice. Violet talks to Imogen about Xaden, and finally, Imogen, maybe, talks some sense into her about not trusting Xaden. She explains that they all have to keep things classified sometimes because, there's a literal war. And if Violet wanted to be with someone that would tell her everything all the time...
Wiener
she'd be with Dane.
A spineless wiener bag? With no morals? Or character? Wiener bag? Wiener bag? Wiener bag?
Thank you.
Wiener bag? Wiener bag.
Yes.
I hate him.
Yeah. Who doesn't? Just see the name or think of it. Ugh. Ugh. Anyway, which makes them and us shudder. She chose Xaden, who is a powerful, handsomely sexy, deliciously yummy rebellion leader. And she chose him for a reason, because he's deliciously handsome, rebellion leader.
Yeah.
Imogen goes on to say that she wishes Violet would confide in her best friend Rhiannon again, because she, Violet, is not Xaden and is not good at icing people out. It's clear that Violet needs to depend on her friends and that her friends need her too. It takes a village, people. A people. A village.
Rhiannon got a letter. Rhiannon got a letter from her parents with a notice that they shouldn't let strangers into their homes. And one of the professors takes it and shares it with the class, making it all seem like propaganda and that anyone from outside the borders of their warded cities can't be trusted. Like,
I'm sorry, but it's common sense propaganda. When did common sense become propaganda, people?
Currently, right now, see United States. Okay, but this is different. This is different because the people from outside the wards are like, hey, there's these Venom guys and, Wyvern and everything's horrible. And they're like, nah, dog, those are lies. That's lies. Those aren't real. You're a liar. It's clear to Violet that she can't trust any of her professors anymore because they're all covering up what's happening outside of Basgiath, and they've all been doing it for a very long time. It's also clear that venom attacks are getting much, much worse. Violet runs away and explodes with lightning after the session is over. Then she goes to the archives, her place of safety, to calm down. She trades books with Jasenia again, but Jasenia is upset that Violet came during lessons and not when the archives were empty. It looks real suspicious.
Yeah, but also Violet's ex-scribe Violet, so I don't think it's too bad.
That's true, and, she is the hero of the story, and therefore she gets special consideration.
She's got a VIP library card.
Ooh. Can I have one of those? It works at every library. Oh,
every library.
Wouldn't that be
unlimited
a dream?
loan limit. Unlimited loan limit. Yeah.
Unlimited
no fines if
Libby.
It's a fine library. Yes. And you get priority on holds.
Yes.
Jump the queue.
Straight to the top of the line.
Damn, I want a VIP library card now.
God, me too. We need to invent that.
Okay. Xaden visits and they argue about all the books Violet has. I mean, come on. If your man is complaining about the amount of books that you have, you need to reassess your man. Yeah, get rid of him. My man is an enabler and keeps sending me links to books and then just goes, yeah, just buy them. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, same.
Anywho, get yourself an enabler. Anywho. It's the books that she's been researching more than, the fact that she's got a vast quantity of books. And it's the fact that she's been researching wards and not telling him about it. So, we'll give him some slack. Plus, he's hot. And, also that she trusts Jasenia to help. So he wants to meet her because if there's a rebellion involved and there's something else that she's got in, you can see as a rebellion leader why he may have some, questions.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of back and forth about not telling each other things and, blind trust and how one expects it all the time and one never gets it all the time. And again, we're annoyed.
Varish punishes Violet with more signet training and is about to punish her again during flight maneuvers when Terran steps in. He communicates to Solus and to all the dragons that Varish has no right to summon a dragon. Varish, of course, threatens Violet again because he believes he has every right to punish and torture her. But then Terran nearly snaps Solus's neck, biting real hard until Varish apologizes. This is not going to be good, and I feel like he should just bite Solus's head off and save us all the anguish.
Just get the ranch dressing out.
Yeah.
And have at it.
Yes.
Just do
please.
it. Just do it. Well, later, Rhiannon walks with Violet as she's about to leave to go to Samara. They argue about Violet not opening up anymore, and just as Violet is about to tell Rhiannon what she's really upset about, what she's really been keeping from her friends, the Venin, Varish approaches to search her bag again before departure like he always does. It's interesting that they never search Tarn, because he's the one transporting weapons and other important rebellion items. Violet apologises to Rhiannon and leaves.
When Violet arrives in Samara, she learns that Mira is stationed there now. She almost tells her about the Venin and even hints that the stories their dad used to tell them are real, but Mira dismisses it. That night, Violet and Xaden talk and seem to reconnect more, though she still comments that she can't trust him, blah, blah, blah. He tells her that it's okay if she keeps stuff from him too, like that she was researching the wards, but he's kind of still mad that she didn't tell him that Varish tried to push her to burnout.
You see, I can understand keeping the wards research a secret, but Varish pushing it to burnout, that's a sharing piece of information.
I don't get it.
No.
It's fine.
No. The both need a low-flying pigeon to hit them.
Yes.
Which means a slap over the head.
No, I prefer
slap over the head.
Actual pigeons.
Actual pigeon. Yeah, fair. Anywho, back at Basgiath, all the teachers rush off, leaving a few behind to continue lessons. Apparently, there was a battle somewhere nearby, but one of the remaining professors says they will learn about it in battle brief the next day. Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure.
The teacher asks the second-year students about what happened after the wards were created, when their nation was created by absorbing others. Some students act like nothing bad happened at all, but others say that they lost their history, heritage and folklore. Violet knows this to be true because she knows about the translations of books in the archives. And has some common sense, just a smattering, tiniest amount.
Yes. Dane tries to talk to Violet during sparring lessons and fails miserably, so he challenges her to a fight. She threatens to kill him if he touches her face and uses his memory-stealing powers on her. The fight is all about Dane pleading Violet to still be his friend, or more. And she reminds him of everyone who died because he stole her memory about Athbane and told his father. He seems like he has no idea what she means by everyone dying then and what they saw. Does he not know about the Venin? He holds her pinned to the floor, but Violet keeps her dagger at his throat, and just before he taps out of the fight, he tells her that her mother was the one who put the 107 scars on Xaden's back to denote all the marked ones. And I feel like, yeah, probs, duh.
Yeah.
I mean, who else would do it?
Shark.
Yeah.
Anywho, Rhiannon stops Violet next and starts piecing things together. She knows Dane really hurt her. Obviously, did you see the spot?
It just happened.
And it literally just happened 2 minutes ago, and took something important from her. And she also knows that Violet and the others who were at Athbane have been targeted and sometimes killed. She knows they all saw something they shouldn't have on that mission and asks what it was that killed Liam's dragon. When Violet can't answer, Rhiannon gets mad. But Violet can't put her best friend at risk like the rest of them. Why does she see it in one term but she doesn't see it for another? Okay. Luckily, Arik approaches then and needs an escort to the healer. Violet volunteers to take Arik, and as they walk, he reveals that he knows about the venom, which is why he ran away from his father, the king, to come to the War College and train to be a dragon rider.
Nice.
Cool.
When Xaden visits next, he and Violet go to check out the forge, but she's taken for her interrogation training instead, along with Rhiannon, Riddick, and Sawyer. They know better than to drink anything when they're locked away, since the last time they were taken a drink, they lost their connections with their dragons and signets. After lots of beatings, mostly of Violet, still none of her team breaks, so Varish brings in Dane. Luckily, Dane refuses to use his signet on Violet, so that's good. But then Varish punches Violet's shoulder out of socket and she passes out. Nolan comes to mend her and suggests that they should be able to escape, and they do. One of the locks on one of the doors opens in response to one of the daggers gifted to Violet by Xaden, a venom-killing dagger, and she realizes it, but her friends have no idea. Oh, cool, your dagger can open the door, cool. Cool.
I'm sure there's a joke about, like, two-tier authentication or something like that for security, but yeah. Anywho, back in class, leaflets are distributed alerting them to an attack near their borders, but the Professor, Markham, who used to be Violet's scribe instructor, tells them all it's propaganda, even though it's definitely not. He distracts the class then by inviting a student in, Jack fucking Barlow.
What the fuck?
He tried to kill Violet repeatedly in book 1, and she subsequently crushed him with a mountain, or he's been healed, or, brought back to life somehow. I mean, wow, that's some healing. The Professor celebrates healer Nolan's skills while Jack stares menacingly at Violet. Another professor tells them then that there was an outpost attack and it happened where Xaden and Mira are, and suggests with a subtle motion to Violet that Xaden has been hurt. Violet leaves immediately, which will surely mean punishment when she returns. Oh, he's going to take great joy in that one.
I wonder. Violet lands in Samara, crazed with Terran's desire to see his mate Sigale. She rushes in and is met by Mira, who is shocked that she's there, but tells her that Xaden is in the sparring gym. He seems perfectly fine. Shrug.
I mean, you can see he's topless.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
Violet tells him that she left without permission because she couldn't stand not knowing if he was okay, but also that she couldn't control Terran's desire. Xaden is amazed that she feels that way about him since they've constantly been fighting, but takes her into the showers to try to snap the connection with Terran. It works, but the passion between them finally builds and breaks. Though Xaden has been trying to get Violet to admit she loves him, right now she wants him and needs him, and that has to be enough. It is. They finally have sex again in the shower, lightning and shadows whipping around all over the place.
I'm just doing what we listen to in the audio.
It's our fault for listening to the dramatized version.
It was good though.
So good.
99% of the time. Quick, let's run up these stairs. Anywho, afterward, they go to deliver illicit weapons to a drift of griffin flyers, one of which, Cat, seems intimately familiar with Xaden. Thank you. Xaden tells the drift that if they attack any of their outposts again, looking for weapons, he will stop helping them and let them die. They try to guilt trip him, but nah, dog. He's doing a lot for them while trying to keep his own people alive too, so listen the fuck to him. They argue about a luminary and insinuate that Violet is involved or needed by their Viscount, but Xaden insists they leave her out of their discussion. Xaden explains later that the Viscount offered to let the rebellion borrow his luminary if he could see Violet wield her lightning, but Xaden doesn't believe it would stop there and he's not willing to give Violet up. Before she leaves, Xaden gives her another one of the daggers to keep her safe, just in case.
Violet encounters Varish on her way back to her room. Professor Kaori, one of Violet's favorite teachers, follows behind Violet and stands up for her when Varish insists that she give him her clothes and bag to search. Rhiannon peeks out of her room, and Violet, panicking, glances at the dagger that she has sheathed, then back at Rhiannon. Kaori calls Varish out for being wildly inappropriate and misusing his power, which he obviously is, and tells him that he's had a discussion with leadership about Violet suddenly leaving, claiming it's because of her very powerful dragon and that she will not be punished for her actions. Varish leaves in a huff, and then Violet reaches for the dagger, but it's gone.
Yeah, it's alright, don't worry, Rhiannon has it.
Whew.
She used her signet power of teleporting objects to keep it safe from Varish. Violet decides it's time to tell Rhiannon, Sawyer, and Riddick the truth. Thank goodness.
Fuck.
They take it surprisingly well and immediately offer to help because they're good friends.
Because they are good friends.
We like them. With 4 people researching the wards, work will go much faster. Duh. And a lot of time passes with them researching, going out on punishment missions from Varish, and the dropped in the middle of the woods missions, and another assassination attempt on Violet's life that ends with the death of another person who was with her with the venom and being rescued by none other than Jack fucking Barlow. It's a fantastic montage.
Mm-hmm.
The friends discover that there are hidden vaults below the archives that might contain primary source documents about the wards, which makes Amanda and Claire salivate. But Jacinia says they'll need someone from the king's bloodline to get past the wards. Good thing they have someone to help then, isn't it?
Though it is harrowing and very dangerous, they make it into the hidden vaults and escape with 2 journals. Unfortunately, after everyone has dispersed from their archive burglin, Violet is walking alone and approached by Nolan, who offers her some lemonade. Stupidly, she drinks it, and Varish arrives just as she passes out. They believe she took something from the royal vaults, but they don't actually know that she did. Varish tortures her, but she won't break, though she does hallucinate that Liam is with her since he kept her so safe in Book 1. Varish wants to know where they're trying to ward because he knows about the venom, of course. She refuses to speak. Varish lets her know that he's just using her as a trap to get to Xaden.
Ooh, burn. Unfortunately, they bring Dane in to search Violet's memory, telling him that she's trying to break the wards, which is not true. She chooses to show Dane the venom killing their friends, and he decides to tell Varish that they've been stealing weapons to give to the enemy.
Fuck, Zane? Or Dayton? Dayton, I've just put them together. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that to Zane.
Fuck, Dane. Fucker.
Take that back. He asks to see one of Violet's daggers to compare it to her memory, then uses it to stab Varish and cut Violet free. Yay! Xaden arrives just as they make it out of the cell, and Violet kills Varish with Dane and Xaden's help. Yes!
And then they walk up the stairs out of the vault. It turns out, since Xaden realized Violet had been captured, he's basically been fucking shit up.
Nice.
He and some others killed several wyverns and dropped their corpses in strategic locations to cause an uproar. And cause an uproar it did.
That's a good time as well.
All the professors were alerted and flew off, and Violet's mother was as well. she arrived back to see her daughter being carried out of the cell. And they have a touching moment wherein she tells Violet that she made her go into the writer's quadrant because she's known about the wyvern and venom and knew that the scribes would make her change history to cover it up, and she wouldn't go along with it and would be killed. Aww.
Oh, Mom, thanks. What? Wait.
But then she says that But then she says that because Xaden owed her for letting the marked ones live, she made him promise to keep Violet alive. Uh-oh, that's weird. Is that why Xaden loves her? Surely not.
No.
But back to more important things. Dane calls all the cadets and they decide to tell them all the truth. It doesn't go super great until the dragons get involved, and then many decide to join the cause. They all fly off together to Ryerson House in Orisha, about 100 cadets and 200 dragons. And this, friends, is where the book finally starts to get good. It only takes the entire first part.
Oh, join Patreon to see Amanda's expression, please. It's a joy. You can watch these videos for as little as $1/1. Violet wakes in Satan's bed from a horrible dream she sometimes has with the Venom Sage threatening her and maybe even actually speaking to her, but that leaves her mind as soon as she sees Xaden. They have loud sex. Wow, it's loud. And very wet sounding on the audio dramatisation. So wet. And sloppy. It sounded sloppy. Anyway. So, they do it, well, Xaden does it, because he wants everyone to hear that she is his, which seems a little bit much. It's a little immature.
And it kind of seems out of character for him.
Yeah.
It was weird. I almost feel like that's a thing that, like, it's a romance book, and so we have to have that little bit of extra spice thrown in. But, like...
Well, have really loud sex. That's fine. Don't mind that. Don't even mind when it's gratuitous detail or sound effects, I suppose. The sound effects are weird. But you can...
Don't claim. Don't
it's
claim
not possession.
People.
No, don't be possessive like that. There's ways and means of saying, this is my human, this is my person, respect this person, they're an extension of myself. More than just, really loud sex.
And it just doesn't seem like something Xaden would do at all.
It seems disrespectful, doesn't it?
Right, and he is very, very respectful of Violet and her person.
Yeah, consent is very key to him.
I don't get it.
It's weird. It's weird. Well, anyway, they go and meet with the rest of the council leaders who have established that Violet is his or whatever.
Whatever that was.
They're all mad because Violet is there, and she's the general's daughter, but Brennan is her son. So that, it's also he's also there, and he's been there for years. So double standards, much.
Yeah.
Anyway, they complain about having children there and having to care for them, but really they're all learning to become fierce dragon riders, and they were there before they all came here. So Xaden suggests they begin teaching them again. 4 professors and some scribes came, so they could, but the leaders don't like the scribes. Violet mentions that without the help of a scribe they wouldn't have the journal about the wards. Brennan talks about the journal then, saying he doesn't know the language it's written in well enough to translate it. But you know who does? Violet. And they begin working very diligently on translations.
No, stop.
Pen and paper fully added in here. And book turning.
I don't have a book handy to flip the pages. Thank you for that. Before they can talk much more about the diligent translating, Andarna wakes from her dreamless sleep that has lasted much, much longer than it should have. She's much bigger now, black, but she's real shiny looking, and it's weird, and it's probably because she's still so young, but like she kind of looks different. She stretches and stands, but her wings don't fully extend. Poor thing. Taryn explains that because her dreamless sleep was interrupted and because of her quickened rate of growth after the battle with the venom, her muscles didn't grow right. She will, given enough training, be able to fly, but she won't be able to carry a rider.
A few days pass and classes begin again, with the cadets being given all the information they weren't getting at Baskayev. They know that they are Venom very near their borders, so it's imperative they get the wards up as soon as they can. During class, 10 alerts Violet of an upcoming group of riders led by Mira, so she rushes out, prepared to fight her own sister if she's there to hurt them. She's not. Their mother went to her just after Violet and the others left the college to tell them the truth, but they had already seen a wyvern corpse delivered by Zayden. Apparently, the general has been going to each outpost and telling them the truth, letting them leave to help the rebellion if they want to. Mira wanted to. Brennan arrives then, and instead of hugging her long-lost brother, Mira punches them in the face.
I love it. I love it. And he's like, God, it's so fucking hard to mend yourself. Face punch. Oh, it's the movie that they watched in Twilight. Face punch.
Oh yeah,
isn't that what it's called?
Bringing it back to Twilight again.
Always bringing it back to Twilight. Anyway, Violet tells everyone that she's translated the journal and knows how to power the Wardstone. She says that they'll need the blood of the 6 most powerful riders, and if they bleed on the stone, it will activate in an iron rain. But she's a little bit confused about that last bit. They gather the 6, which include Zayden and Violet, and bleed on the stone, but nothing happens. Wah, wah.
No. Wah, wah.
Since the wards aren't in place, they move to their next plan of protecting their citizens, obtaining the luminary from the Viscount. Violet is more than willing to show him her lightning power, but Zayden is convinced the Viscount will want to keep her.
Modern standards. Can't keep people.
Wait, excuse me. Doesn't everyone know that Violet belongs to Zayden after the loud sex?
I don't think the Viscount heard. It wasn't as loud as he was hoping in that instance.
What's the point?
They just have to have very loud sex with the Viscount.
With the Viscount is what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, I mean, I'm not judging. If you want to do that, go for it.
Consent is key.
Exactly. Violet begins training her signet with an instructor named Felix, and while she's proud of her ability to cast lightning up to 40 times in an hour without literally dying, her instructor is not. He tells her that Carr, the signet instructor Baskayev, wasn't teaching her properly, and that she can use small amounts of lightning just in her hands and not bring it crashing down from the sky to destroy mountains. He gives her an orb he created to siphon her energy and to store it to help keep her under control. They plan to meet again after a few days to check the orb to see if she's been practicing.
A couple of days later, Violet, Mira, and Brennan fly to visit Viscount Takaris. They are surprised to see Corden is luxurious, with swimming pools and fancy dresses and lavish parties. They're even more surprised to see that Zayden is already there, alerted by Sigale that Taryn was on the move. Kat, the Viscount's niece, is very flirty with Xaden and has an ability to heighten people's emotions, so she begins fucking with Violet immediately, trying to convince her that she and Xaden are still a thing. They're not, but apparently there were marriage negotiations in the works not too long ago. The Viscount takes them to an arena and demands Violet wield her lightning and destroy a chest. Or more importantly, what's inside the chest. Violet isn't super worried about not being able to aim because she'll hit the chest eventually. But when they open it and unleash a venom, well, things get a little bit more serious after that.
Oh. The venom drains the guards near him, and Violet tries to hit him with lightning but misses. Then a dagger, but she only gets him in the side because it's raining and she couldn't account for the appropriate trajectory. Ten is on his way to help, but he's not nearby. Mira, seeing a venom for the first time, is understandably freaked out, but she gets her shit together quickly. Xaden wants to help, but Violet insists she can take the venom down, but he still throws some blades to her. Brennan joins his sisters in the arena, which is not good because now Violet has both of them to worry about. The venom begins to drain the ground of energy, which will mean their deaths. But then Mira grabs her siblings and shields them with her signet. When powered enough, Mira's shield becomes a ward, but she can't sustain that much power and nearly burns out. Luckily, Tern is close enough now. Brennan carries Mira away while Violet uses daggers to pin the venom's feet to the rain-soaked ground. Tern lifts her into the air as she strikes the water below, killing the venom instantly.
When Violet gets out of the arena, she finds Xaden with Takaris lifted off his feet, strangling him. Violet insists she's okay and that they need to discuss the luminary. That discussion ends with them taking an entire group of Griffin flyers back with them to train alongside the Dragon Riders, plus the borrowed luminary. Unfortunately, the Griffins can't fly as high as the dragons can, so they have to take a very precarious route meant to take down the Griffins, so they have to be extremely careful. In a freak accident, Violet has to save 2 people from falling, but only one survives, a Dragon Rider instead of a Griffin flyer. So lots of people hate her for that. But what's new? Honestly, everyone hates Violet.
She doesn't
all the time.
She doesn't make friends easy.
She does not.
Things get much worse after the fall when wyverns attack. They are rideless, so at least that's good. There are no venom, but the wyverns and the venom share a consciousness, so they probably know that the Dragon Riders and Griffin Flyers are teaming up. Violet is able to kill the 4 wyverns by trapping them in a cloud and shocking them all at once with her lightning.
When they finally get back to Ryerson House in Orisha, they take classes about weaving runes and imbuing their power into things. Xaden has been trying to teach Violet how to do this because it's something that he's known how to do since he was a kid, and he even gave her a book about it. But because he didn't explicitly tell her that it's something that you can use to make you powerful and is another way to use magic, and it's literally on and in the daggers they use to kill venom, she gets mad about it. Kat is great at the runes. But, Violet, she gets better quickly. It's fine. It's fine.
She just needs 5 minutes in the montage.
Right? Just flipping through pages of the books. Go ahead. Flip them. Flip them again. Flip the pages. You flip your pages in your book. I don't have one. Oh, come on. Come on, Foley artist. You're failing. Thank you. Thank you.
Jeez, honestly. I'm not paid to do this. I would be if you go to Patreon. Anyway. I think I'm having a daft afternoon. Violet and Xaden talk a lot about runes back in their room. Xaden has a stone that is always on his bedside that Violet has noticed is marked with runes. Xaden explains that Liam and Sloane's mom made them for all the children of the rebellion. They were marked in such a way as to protect the holder from death by enemy. But only once. Guess it didn't work for Liam. That's so sad.
Well, it worked the first time.
You need another. When all the rebels are sentenced to death by dragonfire, all the children were holding their stones. They didn't burn, but they were marked with the rebellion marks. Xaden likes answering Violet's questions and telling her about his life before they met, but she still seems to want him to just tell her absolutely everything, and although she loves the story, she's still annoyed. And we're still annoyed, funnily enough.
In classes, the professors tell everyone that they are going to intermingle all the students and that the Griffin Flyers will become part of their squads. They will also be allowed to challenge and fight each other like back at Basgiath. So immediately everyone connected to Violet is challenged to a fight by Cat and her friends. Most of the Dragon Riders win, but then it's time for Violet to fight Cat. They were both trained by Xaden in more ways than one, wink. But
that was not so.
They're not supposed to use their signets or abilities, but of course, Cat cheats and manipulates Violet's mind about Xaden, about fucking him and becoming his queen. Everyone else finally realizes that Cat is messing with Violet's mind when Violet nearly strangles Cat to death. Xaden arrives and carries Violet out while others take Cat away. Cat is angry and wants Violet and her entire family to die.
Quite sure Violet feels the same about her and her family.
Yeah.
Xaden carries Violet to what is apparently Tyrandor's throne, his throne, where he literally mindfucks her. He wants to show her what he thinks about all the time, and that he is hers and she is his, and that Cat is nothing. During the mindfuck, Violet briefly sees herself through Xaden, and it's intense. Afterward, they have a discussion about Cat's mind powers and that she can only manipulate what is already there. So Violet feeling so much jealousy and inferiority to her is something she already felt. Xaden wants to help her, but her world has just flipped upside down and everything she thought she knew, everything she was taught by people she trusted, turned out to be lies. When she gets all that figured out again, she'll be okay because she's smart and strong and everything Xaden wants. What we need is another montage.
So many montages. This episode would be much shorter if there were more montages. Later, after welcoming Cat's group of flyers in with the Dragon Riders and having an embarrassingly petty cat fight, snort, all embarrassing on Cat's side, by the way, Violet and her friends go to the library, where Sawyer flirts with Jessenia and Violet asks Dane with help translating the Wardstone Journal. They have a heartfelt conversation about Violet loving Xaden, and how I actually liked this part with Dane about how Dane might actually, maybe jokingly, be in love with Xaden too after they rescued Violet from Barish because of how amazing Xaden was in that fight. Really appreciated that.
Love it.
Violet wants Dane to know that she still struggles with hating him for stealing her memories, and he apologizes for trusting his father instead of his best friend. Things seem okay after that. He tells her that her translation of Iron Rain isn't right and that they'll need to keep working on the journal. She learns that he has the ability to imbue power into the Wardstone, which is something that they all learned in their rune classes, so they'll start working on that as well.
Violet spends time with Felix learning how to better control her lightning with the conduits, which she's been getting good with. He knows she understands using her lightning, but she has trouble controlling it still. He teaches her better ways to focus, and she continues practicing. After her lesson, he tells her she and Xaden will need to meet with the rest of the leaders later that night. Violet reaches out to Xaden, and he seems weary. Something isn't right.
Venin attacked a city nearby and nearly killed Xaden. They are so far behind where they should be in this war. Violet vows to herself to figure out the journal and get the wards working. Not shockingly, after another read-through, she realizes not only did she have the word Iron Rain wrong, it's actually, insert title here, Iron Flame.
Yay!
She also realized that her word for blood, that caused her to have the 6 most powerful riders bleeding on the stone for nothing, actually should have been breath, meaning she'll need dragons, not their riders. And honestly, why would you think that the riders are the important ones here? This book is fucking about dragons.
Exactly. Exactly. Unfortunately, Violet also realised that by putting up the wards, the Griffin Flyers would lose their ability to channel magic. So Rhiannon calls her entire group together. Not just the Dragon Riders, but the Griffin Flyers under her care also, including Cat, to tell them. They all hate the idea, but the majority think that keeping everyone safe from venom is more important. Now Violet has to tell Xaden, but before she can do that, they have a training exercise, because even though there's a war going on, they've still got to go to lessons. God damn it.
Searching through caves to find hidden relics, Sloane asks Violet if she thinks she'll get a second signet since she has 2 dragons, but she hasn't really thought about it. She remembers something about dragon riders with 2 signets. They get them when they are bonded to a dragon that used to belong to a direct descendant. And then she thinks of Xaden, who has his grandfather's dragon. Riders like that might get 2 signets. Not likely. Will have a more powerful signet. Pretty likely. Or go crazy with madness. Most likely.
Ooh,
can't think about that too much right now, though, because instead of finding the relics, they find Solus, Varish's former dragon, or maybe Solus finds Violet. And Darna is along on this mission too, and luckily she's still small enough to be in the caves with them. Otherwise, they all would have died by dragon fire immediately. After some channeling of powers, gaining a signet, Sloane is now a siphon, though she thought she was accidentally becoming a venom. Whoopsie. Some dagger throwing and bows and arrows, they kill Solus. And Darna really did most of the work, though.
Teenage rage. Mm-hmm. When they get back to Ryerson House and everyone is checked over and declared to be fine, Xaden and Violet start fighting again because Violet didn't tell Xaden about Solus while it was happening. This leads to the same old fight about trust, but also about her mother, but also about the realisation she had about Segal being Xaden's grandfather's dragon first. That means that Xaden is either mentally unstable or he has 2 signets. The ask me and I'll tell you the truth game just got dirty. But for now, they have to leave because they have learned that there are wyvern nearby and they need to put up the wards even though the Griffin Flyers will lose their magic.
Luckily, Violet was correct with her second round of translations, and getting the dragons to breathe fire on the wordstone seems to work. They have to really hope that it does, because once a dragon has done it, they can't do it again to any other stone. Everyone splits off to the edges of where their wards should go to check or be ready to fight the approaching wyvern.
While the wait, Xaden and Violet continue their second signet argument, and Xaden wonders how long it takes to fall out of love with someone. Well, shit, this can't be good. Instead of outright telling Violet, Xaden makes her figure it out. And, well, it's pretty devastating, and kind of reminds me of the scene in Twilight when she's going, "You're super strong.
Your ice skin is ice cold. You never eat.
Say it. Say it.
Intrinsic."
Oh. An intrinsic is a mind reader, but he can read intentions, not direct thoughts. This would still be enough for him to have been killed immediately, by the way, if anyone knew, because of Beskaya, they always kill the mind readers. Violet,
I wonder why. Shock, insert shock here. I wonder why they kill all the mind readers. Oh, because they're constantly lying. Every single one of them. All the time.
But Violet still loves him, but for like 2 seconds, because she questions whether she actually loves him, or whether he just knew what to say and when to say it, because he's been reading her mind. Like fucking, ugh. We rage, and we rage. And to make things even worse, Segal didn't tell this to Ten either, so now they're fighting. For fuck's sake.
Oh no, dragon fight. Oh.
Yeah, but I bet they have really, really, really super loud makeup sex though.
I bet they do. Everyone knows.
Mountains,
even Takaris.
Literal mountains will move. The topography of the country will have to be redrawn on maps.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know what? They'll all lie about it, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to redraw them. It's all a lie. Luckily, I don't think luckily is the appropriate word here. Luckily, the Wyvern approach then. Thank God for Wyvern to get us out of this awkward fucking situation.
Yay!
Yay! So, Violet and Xaden watch while simultaneously preparing themselves to die.
Ooh,
but you know what? The wards hold. Several Wyvern fall before the Venom Sage, the same one from Violet's dreams, she's sure of it, turns them around and retreat. They get reports from other groups, and it seems like the wards are holding everywhere. Hooray!
Ooh. When everyone gets back to Ryerson House, Violet and Mira are alerted that they are needed for a meeting with General Melgren, the commanding general of Ver, and their mother, the commanding general of Biscayeth, plus Xaden and members of his rebellion. Sounds super serious. Melgren, who can see the outcome of any battle as long as there aren't more than 2 marked ones involved, says that there's going to be a battle and they're all going to die unless they help. Xaden and the other leaders, including Brennan, who showed up surprising his mother, decided against helping because why on earth would they help Nevers when they've been letting everyone die outside their borders and hiding the venom from everyone? Like, nah, dog.
Nah, dog. Nah. Pass.
Nah, dog.
Nah.
Hard pass.
Unfortunately, before they depart, General Sorengale tells Violet and Mira that something is wrong with their wards and to check the rune stones inside the Wyvern. When they check a stone, the Wyvern comes back to life.
Oh, no.
Violet kills it with lightning, but they have to fix the wards. As they discuss this and the upcoming battle Melgren mentioned, they realize that he was lying. Insert shocked face here. And that the Venom are going to attack Basgiath instead and destroy their wardstone. So they decide they have to go there.
When they arrive at the wardstone, they find Jack fucking Barlow there, destroying it. He tells them that he sided with the Venom and it looks like he's well on his way to becoming one. Or he already is one. And Nolan, who also was there, was trying to heal him the entire time. But guess what? It doesn't work. Jack kills his dragon, asshole, and becomes a full-fledged Venom, then breaks the wards. Dane and Xaden attack him, and Dane uses his signet to learn that Jack was told all the Venom everything they need to know, and that they'll be there within hours. Jack starts draining Dane, but then Xaden knocks him out, and Nolan gives him the serum that they created that blocks signets, which should keep him powerless.
You know what else would keep him powerless? Fucking killing him.
Yes. I like that option. I like that one. Yeah.
Everyone heads to the battle brief room at Basgiath, and they make a plan to fight the approaching Venom and Wyvern. But it's not a very good plan, and everyone is probably going to die. Luckily, Brennan arrives with a lot of Griffin flyers, so that will help, hopefully. Violet asks Brennan if, since he's a mender, if he could mend the wardstone that Jack broke. Getting the wards back up will mean everything in this war.
The Wyvern horde approaches and everyone prepares. Violet tries to send Indara away, but because she's a bright teenager, she refuses. She's remarkably good at hiding though, like Violet can't even see her good. The battle begins, and thanks to General Sorengale's weather signet, Violet's lightning is boosted. They fly and take down lots of Wyvern and some Venom, but it seems like they'll never stop coming. There are some daring battles and leaping from dragons, and Sawyer gets his leg bitten off halfway, but mostly everyone that we know of survives the first round. Tarn relays to Violet that Brennan has mended the wardstone, so she goes to try and get working again.
On her way to the stone, Jasenia finds Violet and tells her that the journal she's been translating, the second one that they stole in the break-in, mentions the breath of 7 dragons, not 6. But wait, there aren't 7 types of dragons, are there? There's black, blue, green, red, brown, and orange. Nope, that is 6. While Violet is thinking about this, a Venin approaches, and Andarna appears as if from nowhere, like she's been doing this entire time to help fight him. Andarna, whose scales are shimmery and iridescent, not exactly black. Andarna, who has brattily said she's the leader of her own den. Andarna, who was able to bond with Violet even though she was too young. Andarna is a different kind of dragon, and she chose Violet, a rider with the mind of a scribe, after waiting 650 years in her egg. Well, let's keep that secret for just a little bit longer, just in case they can't get the wards up in time.
Oh, so now you want to keep secrets, do you, Violet? You want to keep secrets? Interesting, that one. Violet sees that the ward stones need to be imbued and decides to burn herself out powering it rather than ask anyone to help. Luckily, her mother arrives and has Sloane with her. General Sorrengail makes Sloane, who is a siphon, drain her energy and her dragons to power the ward stone, sacrificing herself to save Basgiath, but more importantly, to save her children. They gather enough dragons and fire the stone, and the wyvern rain down all over the place. That's not hygienic, really, if you think about it. It's a lot of corpses.
Yeah, and they're pretty big. They probably destroyed a bunch of shit when they landed.
Oh, when they start decomposing, bye-bye, sanitary water systems. It's nasty. Anyway.
Violet reaches out to Xaden and finds his shields up. So she checks with Taryn, who checks with Sagail that he's okay. He is, but something's weird. Violet goes to find him and learns that he killed a Venin sage. But to do it, well, Xaden's eyes tell the whole story. They're red-ringed, just like a Venin's. The sage told him that if Xaden didn't kill him, then he was going to kill Xaden and then step over his corpse to go after Violet. In order to keep Violet safe, Xaden, so close to burnout, pulled power from the earth to kill the sage. Luckily, Violet still loves him, but for how long? And is there a cure to being a Venin? Cliffhanger!
Find out an Onyx Storm.
Luckily,
hold
it comes
on,
out in just a few weeks.
What the heck? Have we reached the end of the summer?
We have, and
it's
only been an hour and a half.
Wow. Okay.
With some clever editing, it might be 1 hour and 20 minutes instead of 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Hold the phone.
Oh.
Right, well, let's give everybody a chance to replenish their beverages. But considering we're in the ears and you can freely walk about with that, you know, you could have done that already.
You could have. But everyone enjoy this promo from another show before we dig into
I would ask, do we have announcements? Like, check out our social media for our book club theme challenges for 2025.
Yes.
They have been posted everywhere at Fictional Hangover on Instagram, Facebook.
Just on social media,
TikTok.
I think is fine.
Yeah. If TikTok's still around in your country. I've been reading news headlines.
Anywho,
go and check out Fictional Hangovers. That's true. Go and check out Fictional Hangover on social media for our book club themes for 2025. There are they're all fun themes. They're all ridiculously full themes. And remember, it's a light touch, so we love a tenuous link. #TenuousLinkTM. So it can be the lightest touch in terms of meeting that theme. Yes. And you are the Lord and Master, and you can pick whichever book you feel like.
You can do that.
And then share it on our socials.
Yeah. And if there is a really good tenuous link, tell us, because we like that. We think it's funny.
Yes. You can use the #FH Book Club Challenge, or you can tag us and we will happily share as well. And we will be overwhelmed with joy.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered what Tina Fey has in common with Jonathan Swift? Or how Star Wars is connected to feudal Japan.
Or just how pervasive Shakespeare's influence still is. I'm Rhonda.
And I'm Erin.
And our show Pop DNA explores the literary and historical roots of your favorite pop culture works.
Like the Greek mythology and early 20th century feminism echoed in the film Wonder Woman.
Or the classic dystopian fiction and real-life political revolutions that informed the Hunger Games.
Every month, we bring you a deep dive discussion of a selected pop culture work,
featuring jokes no one will think are funny and literary references no one asked for.
Find us at thepopdna.blog.
Or anywhere you get your podcasts.
By the way, Shakespeare is bigger than Disney.
Anywho.
Let's get into this. Let's get into this discussion. Although, to be fair, we've really talked about a lot of things whilst we were summarizing, so...
Well, that's just efficiency on our part.
It really is. It really, really is.
I feel like I've already said my main point, if I'm perfectly honest, though.
What?
Actually, I've probably got two or three main points.
It was
main point one, too much.
Wildly too long.
Wildly too long. Too much crammed in. Don't get me wrong, and I don't want to sound like a negative Nelly. I really did enjoy the book. I really, really did, and I'm liking the series so far. Part of me feels like maybe I enjoyed Fourth Wing more because it was refreshing change. Yeah. It was nice to finally have dragons and swearing and sex and somebody who's very forthright and power and, like, you know, strong independent woman, you know, and having that, you know, the sexy guy in there. And I'm wondering if the novelty value of Fourth Wing helped. But then, you know, this is not the first time I've read Iron Flame since it's come out. And same thought over again. There's so much crammed in.
Yes.
So I'm with Rebecca Yarros and her thoughts that it should have been a couple of books.
I think.
Whereas I think it was not the best editing decision.
I think instead of it being 2 books, like, just get rid of most of what happens in the first half of the book. It didn't get good for me until they fled, which I said while we were discussing the summary. Like, it didn't get good for me until they left Basgiath and went to Ryerson House. Like, we could have montaged, honestly, that whole first bit. It was... It could...
there was bits I liked. I liked the torture scenes. But I did like the torture scenes.
Yeah. Sure.
I think a lot of Varish was forced in a lot of that first half.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, how much... so much going back and forth between, you know, where Xaden's stationed in Basgiath. And, yeah. And it was whiny.
It was.
So whiny. Which actually is my second big problem. Is Violet's expectations that Xaden is just going to share absolutely everything about the revolution. But it's like, you're a huge security risk? No.
Yeah. No. And it was... She was so annoying. It was... You're right. It was so much. It was so much back and forth. Going to the outposts and coming back and back and forth and back and forth. Like, cut out a few of those trips. Cut out all of the times that Violet is like, I want to trust him, but I can't. Like, he has reasons for what he's doing. Let him do what he needs to do. Stop fucking whining about not being able to trust him. I want to just say, like, when has he ever proven himself untrustworthy?
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head right there. He has done so much for her. And it's like, sit down and think about it for just 2 minutes. There's a reason why. I mean, it's just so frustrating. And he's repeatedly said, you can't shield. You can't keep people's brains. You've got Dane, who literally stole your thoughts and was able to use it and got your friends murdered. So you're feeling guilty about Liam's death because the information was stolen from your brain. So Xaden cannot tell you the secrets of the rebellion, the revolution, in case this happens again, but worse. So just take a beat.
So I went back and I was thinking a lot about this because it made me so insane that in book 1, Violet was so smart and so mature and so powerful and just very educated. And then in this book, she's like, oh, I can't trust anyone. I can't do anything. Blah, 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 blah. I'm such a winner. A cat's so much better than me. Blah, blah, blah. But then I started thinking, like, Violet was so smart in book 1 because she's learned all this stuff. She's been reading her entire life. She's been practicing to be a scribe, whatever. And then you find out that absolutely everything you've read, everything you've ever been taught by your professors, everything anyone has ever told you is a lie. So I guess I can kind of see how in this book she's like, well, I don't know anything. I don't know anything anymore because literally everything she's ever been told is a lie. So I can kind of get it, but still, it's too fucking much.
But Satan's the only one who's never lied to her.
I know.
I think I would have appreciated it if it only happened in the second half when Kat was around and it turns out that it wasn't her thoughts. Yeah, obviously, the thoughts were there. You know, that she feels like it would be nice for Xaden to trust her a bit more, to be a bit more open with her, to have brought her into the revolution sooner. You can have those thoughts, but they're not, festering inside of her. They're just kind of those, those inside brain things that are there. But it was Kat bringing them out. It was Kat pulling those negative thoughts out to fuck with Violet.
Because, we all have those negative thoughts all the time.
Exactly. So if it was Kat, if Kat was around and she was the one bringing them out to fuck with Violet, to make Violet and Xaden's relationship fizzle and die, I think I would be a lot more forgiving. But it's the fact that it literally starts in the first 5 minutes of the book that it's too much. And if you add on to that, it's the not love triangles as well. So trying to, in the first half, kind of almost shoehorn Dane still back in there, even though we know it's never going to happen. Violet is never in that frame either, but it feels like they're trying to insinuate that maybe these things, in a wild and wacky world could change. No, fuck off. And then the second half, having Kat there was piss poor and annoying, and I hate love triangles. I hate love triangles. It's one of my least favourite tropes. I hate love triangles. I find them so pointless. But the only reason I probably would have tolerated it is if it'd been, as I said, Kat fucking with Violet and bringing out those thoughts that were so freaking irritating. But then again, it's not a love triangle. Xaden and Violet are very much together. It's Kat trying to infiltrate and mess and try and get Xaden back, which is not a love triangle. It's a different thing, different shape. But it just and I don't want to sound negative about the book because I really loved Andara,
it's so hard
being a 7th dragon. Her petulant teenage attitude was chef's kiss. Love it. I've listened to the audio book and I've listened to the dramatisation, and both times it's brilliant. The fact that she's just a petulant child, teenager, done so well. Really appreciate that, and love the fact that she's a secret 7th dragon. I love Tarn and his sassy grumpiness, being in Crumb Dungeon.
Yes.
There was a lot of endearing things about this. So I'm not trying to sound like a negative Nelly.
No, and that's part of it. It's that thing where you only talk about the horrible things that happen and the stuff that you hate. Like, if you have a bad day outside the house, something stupid happens and like someone is mean to you, of course you come home and that's all you talk about. And you never talk about the good things that happen. You know, you never talk about a peaceful, quiet, calm day. Like, no, you only talk about the negative things. And so I feel like that's what we're doing in this episode. We're only talking about the stuff that we absolutely just drove us insane. But the book, like, we love it. We love the book. We do. And we're excited for book 3 to come out. Like, I need to know what's going on. But at the same time, just like...
I'm worried about Xaden and the Venom thing.
Are you? I'm not.
A little bit.
I'm not worried about Xaden becoming a Venom. And I think that he is... Think of how calm and controlled he's been his entire life. I guess since, developing the second signet, which happened shortly after he got his first signet, right? And he has had to keep this secret. He has had to be completely in control of everything all the time. So I think, he's probably going to struggle with craving that extra pull of power, but I don't think it's going to be bad. I don't think it's going to be as bad as we think it's going to be. If we just move forward, with you. I think, like we did with the end of Fourth Wing, we had these wild theories. Wrong, disgustingly wrong. I don't think that he's going to struggle with it. I mean, he is. He's going to struggle with it. But he's so powerful. He's so in control. I think that it's going to turn and he's going to be able to use his horrible venomousness for good.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. My worry is how everybody else is going to treat him. And are they going to, depose him from being in that position of responsibility and power? That's my concern. Not the fact that he's not going to be able to control it, because he's going to be able to turn around and go, listen, I'm fine. It's just, now and again, I want an extra biscuit with my tea.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's not the fact that he's going to be this wildly out of control beast, but they're going to treat him like that. And I think that would also be a bit more of an interesting way to go than just making him this power hungry, because that's completely out of character.
It really is. Something that I wonder about, though, this happened, like, Jack has come back and he is a Venom.
His full name. Jack
fucking Barlow, and which I really appreciated because that is actually quoted from the text. He is referred to as Jack fucking Barlow in the book. So Jack fucking Barlow comes back to life, and really, I guess technically if you go back and look at Fourth Wing, he died off page, so you didn't see it. And they they always do the death roll things where they announce who has died, and that didn't happen. And did it not happen off the page, and so you just didn't see it, or did it not happen at all? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. So Jack fucking Barlow is still alive, even though he was literally crushed by a mountain, and he is Venom. And he is at Basgiath, being a Venom, and he's just walking around, and he's got his red eyes, and Nolan is there trying to cure him, but that's not going to work. So he's there, and he's got his red eyes, and he is a Venom. I wonder how many others are out there, because Massive Meathead, if you will recall, also has red eyes, or red, the whites of his eyes are red, and they're all like, oh, he's just on drugs, or he's just, Jack fucking Barlow just was crushed by a mountain, so he's, his eyes are red because he's, so stressed or whatever. But nah, they're becoming Venom slowly. So there's like stages of it.
Will be interested to see how much the librarians can help them solve this little mystery and problem. There's got to be an answer in the archives.
There's got to be an answer in the archives.
There's always an answer in the archives.
Right, and I feel like, we've got Cam/Arik here who can get into the royal vaults in the archives, and so I'm hoping that since we're in the middle of a full-fledged war here, that they're going to be able to go in there and just search willy-nilly and not have to...
I do hope there is more made of that character as well, because I did quite like
him.
I mean, not to name him as my favourite character at all, but I did quite like him. But he did feel like very much not shoehorned in, but he was there
the,
to serve
Deus
a
Ex
purpose.
Machina in
But I
this
would
one.
like him to be
yes.
a bit more. Yeah.
Yes.
But then, I like the fact that Imogen as well, she grew as a person. It was like, you know what, Violet, you were a pain in the ass and you're still a pain in the ass, but let's be running buddies, because actually you're not too bad and I'm not too bad a person. And I like the fact that Sawyer and Rhiannon and Riddick, I really like I keep coming back to the torture scenes. I really did enjoy the torture scenes. And the fact that they were
really
stuck
good
together.
They were very well written. Yes.
Yeah, they're stuck together as a team, as friends. And as soon as, Rhiannon, the amount of times she was saying to Violet, tell me what's going on, I'm your friend, I'm here to help. And Violet's like, I can't. But you can't see the similarities between her relationship with Zane.
Right, it's so fucking frustrating.
Just because you're boinking someone doesn't mean they have to tell you everything.
And you know what? You could probably fuck Rhiannon and it would be okay.
She's probably really good in the sack.
She probably is.
I think she does actually say she's really good in the sack.
Yeah, she does.
And you know what, girl? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that you can trust them, and actually they're probably the ones that you could have trusted a lot sooner to help with things, because they're not the ones who were being targeted by Varish at all. It's useful,
That was very, very frustrating to me, especially like you were saying, like it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing that Xaden is doing to you. You are doing to your friends. Like, if you don't want him to keep secrets from you, like, you don't need to keep secrets either. Stop it.
Yeah.
And again, just like we were saying with Xaden, like, when has he ever proven to be untrustworthy? When have any of your friends ever proven to be untrustworthy?
Dane, and we're not treating
we don't count Dane. Dane is not a friend.
Don't like Dane.
Except we do like Dane when he's like, I'm kind of in love with Xaden too right now, because damn, what he did was hot and sexy. Appreciated that.
I completely imagine that Dane turns around and goes, he's got like that swimmer's V around his waistline where it just dips in, and the way he tries, and he's like, yeah, I really like that, and then he starts talking about it a bit too much, and you're like,
Dane, did you just realize that you are a homosexual? Because we support you.
Is this your bisexual
out.
awakening?
We support you.
I actually think it was his bisexual awakening.
It might have been.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll leave Violet alone. You know what? Ooh, okay. If Dane just had his bisexual awakening, do you know what? I want him to fall in love with Brennan. Because it's like a throwaway line at the beginning when Violet is talking to Brennan, and like, oh, what else have I missed in the past 6 years or whatever, and like, are you married? Do you have a family? And he's like, well, I had a partner, but I don't anymore. Like, oh, Brennan, let's let Dane and Brennan fall in love.
I'm shipping this. Yes, I'm shipping this completely.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be so nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I bet Brennan's got that Summers V.
He probably does.
Thing as well that Dane now appreciates. It's not in the book, but I inferred it. It was written in between sentences.
It was between the lines. It was between.
Yes.
It was between the V.
Yes, it was. Oh my god, I love that.
That's probably not going to happen. That's another
No,
wildly...
now we've said
that's
it.
That's a wildly incorrect theory.
Manifesting.
Damn.
I need that to happen.
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
Okay.
Do you have, what else do we
Let's
need
do
to
favourite
discuss?
characters.
Do you have any favorite characters? Zayden, obviously, hands down, all the time.
Yes.
V down. Zayden
Yes.
is always my favorite. And also Taryn, and also Andarna.
Yeah, I'm going to give a special shout out to the Foley artists
Right.
on the audio dramatization.
Right, yeah.
Damn, it was ridiculous and fun.
Yeah.
I do recommend listening to
Yes.
it.
But, okay.
With
so
full awareness that the
everyone knows
hard sex
that
is
Claire and I...
weird.
Right, for sure. Everyone knows that Claire and I, when we listen to audiobooks, we listen at greater than 2 times speed to get to enjoy the books at a pace that we need to listen to. However, that doesn't necessarily work in our favor when you listen to a dramatized book. And you will notice, if you go back and listen to the summary, that we were constantly doing fast breaths and weird, gross sound effects. And I'm sure if one listened to those scenes not sped up 2.5 times the correct speed, it would not be nearly as off-putting. But it was very, very off-putting.
It's when you can hear the water in the shower as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. That was my most and least favorite thing at the same time of listening to this book this time around.
Yeah, I think to be fair though, I'm gonna put the Foley in as a character that I've really appreciated.
Yes, sure.
Even when it was off-putting, it was entertaining.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So obviously I'm working in my library, and we all talk about the books that we're reading all the time, and I'm talking with patrons about what we're reading, and I found another patron at the library who also really loves this series, and she has some wild theories, and I will say that her theories are I hate them, but I kind of want to share them, but I hate them.
Yes, please.
But we were talking about it, and she was like, so are you listening to anything good? And I was like, yeah, I'm listening to the dramatized version of Iron Flame. And she was like, oh, I loved that. And yeah, I listened to the dramatized version too. And I was like, yeah, but how fast do you listen to audiobooks? And she's like, oh, I can't speed them up. I can't understand them. And I was like, well, let me just give you a preview. And then I breathed quickly at her, and it was really fun. And we had a great little laugh about it. So that was really fun and interesting. However, she has a theory of what is going to happen in next book or, future books. She thinks that we're going to drop Zayden and get with Dane. And as we have just proven, that's not true, because Dane has had his bisexual awakening.
No, we are not accepting that at all.
No, and I told her.
We want Dane and Brennan.
We do.
What's their ship name?
Brain.
Brain?
It's Brain.
We are shipping Brain.
We are shipping Brain. We are shipping Brain. Yeah, but I told her, no, please no. And then I pretended to throw up at her. No, I hate Dane. No, stop it. But Brain we can get behind.
Brain.
Yeah.
Totally. We're totally behind Brain.
We are totally in love with Brain.
Do you have any ideas going forward? Because my surprise was how so wrong we were about General Sorengale in Fourth Wing.
What did we say? That she was going to become the villain of the story?
Yeah, and she sacrificed herself.
And she sacrificed herself instead. So
we were so wrong.
Wrong.
so that's my actual biggest surprise. But, you know, do you want to kind of like think of any of your
I mean, I guess my biggest surprise was that Andarna was a different kind of dragon. I mean, obviously there was the whole setup for it the entire time, her being different. And like she's not black, she's very shimmery looking, whatever. And they said it multiple times, and we said it multiple times in the summary. Like there's obvious setup that she is a different kind of dragon. And I really appreciate that everyone thought that she was just being a whiny little bitch. I'm like, well, I'm going to be the leader of my own den. And then she stomps off and eats a sheep. But but no, she's telling the truth. I'm going to be a leader of my own den. And then she stomps off and eats a sheep. But she's truly the leader of her own den because she is a seventh type of dragon. And I do appreciate
when someone tells you who they are,
you listen,
believe them.
Yes, and just because she's a teenager doesn't mean that you can't trust her. She's not smart because she's a kid. No, you got to listen to her. But I do like that she was like, yeah, I was in my egg for 650 years just waiting for you. And Tern mentions, well, I wasn't alive 600 years ago. Even though I'm a crotchety old man, I am not, in fact, 600 years old. And so it's just like, this is happening. Everything is happening at the time it needs to happen. And Darna was born from her egg at a time where she knew she would be needed.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Sounds like a good sleep though, doesn't it?
It does. I appreciate it, but I also like, come on. Surprise seventh dragon, like, are there more? Or is she the only one? Because if she's the only one, then that's the only wardstone. And then everyone is going to have to move to Besgaeth.
I kind of wonder if there's a link between her and the Wyverns, though.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And then there's also the thoughts about, you know, we said we wanted Violet's mom to become a villain and become evil villain and whatever, but like, I mean, is that why? Is there something going on in the past with Violet's mother and the venom, which we kind of thought, but like Violet's hair is half silver or whatever, and that was maybe because of something that happened while her mother was pregnant with her, which there's internet theories that she tried to channel or something without a dragon while she was pregnant, probably trying to save her husband or something. So is that why Violet's hair is half silver? I don't
know, and I don't like to read the internet theories because
I don't either.
They are based on exactly the same information that I've got.
Right, and then you just kind of go, ugh.
No, things I want to see. I want to see things from other people's point of views.
That's what I think. There's supposed to be 5 books in this series.
Yes.
And I am really, fingers crossed, hoping that this story ends at the end of book 3, and then we Midnight Sun it, and we get 2 books from Xaden's point of view.
See, I think as much as I would like that, because then that might mean it's a bit more compact, the story, because like this one should have been 2 to 3 books easy.
Right.
I think we're gonna start seeing more of Xaden's point of view now that he's the venom.
Right. Well, I mean,
because it's going to be interesting to get his perspective of the struggle or acceptance, or I think it's going to be a more interesting point of view than Violet's all the time.
I agree.
And I want to hear his doubts, if there are any, about his relationship with Violet. I'm sick of hearing hers.
Yeah.
I need that break. So I think we potentially could start hearing from his point of view quite early on, and I actually think it's going to go up to 5. I don't know how that's going to happen. It's got to have been storyboarded already. She's got to have a plan.
Right, but it's too much. What else can happen to make it 5 books long, unless they are much shorter than these are. I can't imagine stretching.
Prequels.
Sure. Prequel would be great.
I would love a prequel. I would love it's a trilogy. I love a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we both love a trilogy. Because we don't like it when series get dragged out too long because it gets frustrating. I would love for this to have ended a trilogy, and I would like one of the books to be the war, and it stars General Sorrengail. And Violet's dad, who I can't remember his name.
Does he even have a name? I feel like he's just
Sorrengail.
unnamed father. Yes.
It might have been named at some point. And Zayden's parents, and it's that rebellion. I want that story.
Yeah.
I want that to be interesting.
Yeah.
Because then going forward, certain people these people are dead, so you're invested in the story there and then, but it has that gut punch because her dad's going to be dead.
Right.
In a few years' time, and you can have that emotional gut punch, and you can add in that humanity and humility into General Sorrengail, and you think, well, actually, she sacrificed herself for her children, and she comes off as this stony, emotionless parent, but actually, she does everything for her kids.
Yeah.
And you don't realise that because you don't get her perspective. So I would love for one of the books to actually be based then, and I would actually like another one to be even further back in the past. And I would like it to be Zayden's grandfather riding Tern, and Tern's first dragon rider.
Sigale, you mean? Sigale,
sorry.
Tern.
Yes.
But then there's a whole lot of stuff if you think about Tern as well, because he had a different rider prior to Violet, and his rider, I can't remember what his name was, but he was the one who saved Brennan's life. He was like a mender or something as well, and he healed Brennan. So then you think, did he die? Was he channeling something else too? Did he become Venom to save Brennan to create the brain love that we are looking forward to?
That's Brennan's ex,
right?
I think that's Brennan's ex.
Could be. So it's just it's interesting. There's a lot of things.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that we have to look forward to.
Is there anything else that you think as well?
I do think that Violet, there was mention of the signets and Violet having two, and I think that Violet's second signet has already been seen in this book, but we don't realize it because she doesn't realize it. But there were a couple of instances, and now I can only remember one, and it was the literal mindfuck scene. But I think that Violet maybe can see through other people's eyes, or like her dragon's eyes. There was, I feel like there was the literal mindfuck where you think that it could be Zayden is just putting this into her head because they're bonded or whatever. But I don't know. I think that maybe she might have seen through him, seeing what he's seeing her doing. And I don't know that maybe he didn't put that into her head. And then there was another scene, and it was during the battle or something, and I can't even remember when it was or what it was that happened, but I feel like she saw him fighting.
Interesting.
So I think that might be her second signet, but I don't know.
I'm not sure myself, but I think that's a very good possibility. Whether it happens in the next one or if there are more, if it goes past a trilogy in terms of the main storyline, Violet is going to ride Andara. It's going to happen. Because they've said that Andara will never ride a dragon, will never have a dragon rider.
She'll never carry a
this is Andara.
Dog. That's not going to happen. No, Andarna
she's going to carry Violet at one point.
Yeah,
because Tern's
but then
going
that makes
to
me
be knocked out or something.
That makes me sad to think that that maybe Taryn isn't going to survive.
Potentially, or he could just be off saving his dragon wifey.
He could be off having a loud.
He could be moving mountains.
He could be moving mountains with Sigale.
He's going to literally, like you said, changing the topography.
Yes. Yeah.
And Dara's there.
Yes.
And, you know, they're busy talking, and it's one of those harmless situations that nothing's going to happen, but then Wyvern attack, and the only way to escape is for Violet to ride Andara, and it's going to... that's my potentially ridiculous prediction.
I just imagine that Andarna being told, you'll never carry a rider, and then she's like, nah dog, fucking watch this, and she just like picks Violet up with her teeth and carries her around or something. She's like, look, I can carry a rider, so fuck all y'all.
But then she realises actually she bit down a bit too hard and want Violet.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, I just feel like Andarna will spite carry a rider.
I love the fact that Andara is basically made of spite and petty.
She is made of spite. She is amazing. She's hilarious too. And I love her. I love her so much. And so I hope that now that she's out of the dreamless sleep, which took a very, very, very long time, and honestly, I feel like it was just Rebecca Yarros going, man, I got too many characters on the page right now. How can I get rid of one of them for a very long amount of time? Oh, yes, make her take a nap. I feel like hopefully in book 3, Andarna will play a much larger role now that she is awake.
I honestly think she's got to. She has to. She's
very important.
Exactly. She's not important. She's very important. She's not a baby dragon anymore. She's had a growth spurt.
Right, and she's
without killing her.
And she's a new type of dragon, so obviously she needs to take center stage.
She's going to be a very, very valuable asset.
Yes.
In multiple and sought after as well.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the cat's uncle. He's going to want her. He's going to want Andara.
Nah,
and he's going to try
him.
and take Andara.
Nah.
Yeah, screw him. Throw him off a mountain. That's being moved.
Yeah. Should we... Is that enough? Is that enough discussion? Should we move on?
Yeah, because we haven't just been negative Nellies.
No, I think I would like to reach out to listeners. I believe that we'll get a lot of listeners with this episode that aren't typically listeners of Fictional Hangover, because our Fourth Wing episode is one of our most listened to episodes. And shockingly enough to everyone listening, we plan these things on purpose. And so we saved this episode for this month because the next book is coming out next month. So I'm hoping that we'll pick up a lot of new listeners here, at least with this episode. And if you are a new listener, or if you're a seasoned listener, tell us your theories that you have for future books. We would like to hear that. We would like to hear what you think. Or if you think that we're completely wrong, or if you also love the thought of Brain.
Brain.
Contact us. Contact us on social media. You can visit our website, fictionalhangover.com, and there's a comment section at the bottom. You can share your thoughts with us that way. You can email us, fictionalhangover@gmail.com. You can comment on all of our social media posts. You can send us DMs. Tell us what you think about this episode, and tell us your theories of book 3, because we're curious. We need to know. Yeah. But now, let's move on to favorite final thought quote. What do you have?
I'm only, considering how big the book is, I'm only going to give you a couple.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think I just have 3.
Yeah. You're a callous asshole. Thank you.
Thank you. From the book, Claire.
Oh, well, this one might have reality hazing as well. Are we here for a reason? Besides the evil villain lecture.
We love a good monologue, though. We love a good villain monologue.
Can you truly be a villain without a monologue?
No, I don't think so. Is that it? You got any more?
Yeah, I'm just going to give you those two because honestly, I think
we've talked enough in this episode.
I will leave you with a quote from the dramatization.
Okay, so I've got a few. I feel like we would be remiss if we did not say secrets die with the people who keep them, because that was floated around quite a bit in the first half of the book. Your dragon has arrived in time to save us from the awkwardness of this conversation.
Wish I had dragons to do that.
Right? Just swoop in and save us. I also have selected this fantastic quote from Xaden. Me? Argue with you about books? I only pick fights I can win. And I was like, yeah, that's us. That's us. Do not argue with us about books. And finally, how are you feeling? So scared, I'm pretty sure either my heart's going to give out or I'm about to shit myself.
Excuse me. Not reality. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh, so
one time.
good.
One time. Jeez.
Can't do it. It's so good. One of the things that I like most about this book is, like, it's obviously a fantasy book, yes, but
it's got dragons
still
and magic. I'm going to say yes.
Right, but it's not so high fantasy that we have a made-up language and made-up cuss words and things like that, which is one of my least favorite things that happens in books. So I do appreciate that they speak as we presently speak. So, yeah, I'm
very
terrified.
accessible.
This is fucking awkward. Like, I'm shitting my pants right now. Like, all of this is amazing, and it's very, very good.
Yeah, I like that as well. It makes it a much more enjoyable read when you're not having to try and decipher.
Yes, definitely.
I always remember when my brother first read Lord of the Rings, and he couldn't pronounce half the names, and he would just call them like Bob and Dave, and it wasn't until he saw the movies and heard the names being pronounced that he was like, "All right, that's how it's done."
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt that way writing the summary for these books because, we listened to them and I violently misspelled a lot of names in a lot of places. So then I have to go back. I borrow the ebook and have to go back and okay, that word has 6 extra N's in it. And I didn't realize that. Oh, that's spelled with 3 Y's. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, you can always tell in my summaries as well when I've done that, because I always put them in capitals. So then I try and make sure I've spelt it incorrectly all the way through, so I can do a control replace.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Yes. Anyway, is it time to play Would You Rather now?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Pew, 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 pew. We asked on social media, would you rather have your mind read or emotions manipulated? On Facebook, 81% said mind read, 73% said mind read on Instagram, 63% said mind read on TikTok. So yeah, we have lots of comments as well.
We do.
Coral on Facebook said, read my mind all you want but mess with my emotions. That's war, because you won't like the emotions that come out.
Claire on Facebook says, this is really tough. I'd hate either of these, but I would feel sorry and worried for anyone reading my mind with this several trail of thoughts and music going on.
Brie on Facebook said, if somebody wants to try and read my mind, go ahead. It's following my train of thought. That's the squirrel!
Emily on Facebook said, I've already had my emotions manipulated throughout the years, so I went with mind read. With that, I can make people think that I'm thinking of, I know a song that gets on everybody's nerves. Please don't sing.
I know a song that gets
No, stop it. Notice I didn't.
I know a song that'll get on your nerves.
No, see, notice I did not sing it as we would have if Constance had made that comment.
That's true. Candice on Facebook said, though, I'd much rather just have people know what I can think. I don't like the idea of someone else having control over me.
Lydia on Facebook said, not much there to read. Oh, Lydia.
Oh, Lydia.
Oh, Lydia.
Colin on Facebook said, "Ha! Read my mind, motherfucker. See where that gets you. A fucking migraine. That's where it gets you. I can barely keep up. There's no chance a random lizard-riding bastard is going to cope. As for messing with my emotions, well, I take loads of medication and have years of practice repressing, so I don't have to worry about that very much now, do I? So why don't you stop being a little whiny bitch and get some decent powers instead of coming at me with the schoolyard bullshit? What do you mean I've got to choose one? You're not the boss of me. Go on, ask nicely. I'm waiting. That's better. See where being polite gets you. I don't know what they're teaching you in school these days, but it's certainly not how to clean a chimney. Not a useful skill these days, you say? Wrong, says I. It teaches discipline and respect, and yes, I know there's not many chimneys kicking around anymore, but still, we have a grand tradition of chimney sweeps, and I don't think we should forget that. I think I've got off the track here a little. I'll let you read my mind. I'm not unconvinced that some people can't read mine anyway, leading to much more paranoid hilarity, so we might as well go with that one.
Fantastic.
I feel like Colin's comment is us reading his mind.
I think so. And you know what? He probably did that to us on purpose.
Yes, he is very purposeful in his response.
Yes, he does not make decisions lightly.
Yes, and if you can't see Colin's response on Facebook, it's because of the swearies, and you've got to unhide it. Anywho.
Katrina on Facebook says, tough one this, but I would hate for someone to be in my mind. It feels really invasive.
Constance on Facebook says, read my mind if you dare, then get yourself some therapy to cope.
Jody Benveniste, author on Instagram, says, definitely mind read.
And Joe Rowland, author on Instagram, said, mind read, at least I'm in control of myself that way.
And finally, at Yuxie0 on TikTok said, I can easily emotionally manipulate someone because I can read their minds.
That sounds like you
All
answer.
right, then. It does. I think that I am going to go mind reading. I know that I typically try to go against the grain and choose the opposite thing that everyone else is choosing. But I'm going to go mind reading because my emotions are already all over the place and I get real mad. Like if my sugar level is high, angry, violent, horrible. And I don't want someone with that power over me. I already have it. So I don't want that. So I'll just do what Violet did when Dane read her mind when she was being interrogated and just push all the fucking worst things I can think of into their head just to fuck shit up.
I 100% agree. And the fact that when it gets to certain social situations, I just word vomit anyways. So, you know, you don't even have to like try that hard with me. Because I'll probably just do the work for you. So yeah, I'm going to agree and go read my mind.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there anyway.
Yeah, it's fine. All right. Would you rather be tortured by yourself or with your friends?
Oh.
It's a horrible question. It's a horrible question.
This sounds like a fun Friday night, though.
It does.
I'm going to say be tortured with my friends because I love them and I want to share share the fun with them. We can turn it into a pizza party or something.
We could. That's great. A torturous pizza party.
It will bring us together closer.
It really would. I think if it... like it, putting ourselves into the pages of the book. We're Violet, and we're either by ourselves or with our friends. Like, Violet has some really good friends, so I think I would like to be in that situation with her and with them rather than by myself. Although she wasn't necessarily alone with Liam, because Liam was there, which now I'm starting to think, is that Violet's second signet? Can she see ghosts?
She's only seen Liam to this point. I think if she starts seeing her mum, yes.
So maybe it's that instead of seeing through other people's minds. Because that was very weird that she saw Liam, if we go back and start to think of it. Even though he was her protector in book 1, it's kind of weird.
It's still not a situation I would necessarily have expected to see the ghost of Liam in. I mean, I don't want to be tortured by myself, and what that entails is seeing dead people.
Right.
As much as I don't mind a bit of a ghost hunt, as we know.
We don't want that kind of ghost hunt.
No, we don't want that kind of ghost hunt. But yeah, I do wonder how much her second signet might actually have something to do with Liam, but
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. It depends on what the form of torture is as well. Is it going to be a really terrible movie that we're going to have to watch?
Yes.
Subpar snacks.
Yeah, our eyes are going to be taped open, and we're going to have to watch something really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but watching a bad movie with friends is fun.
Oh, okay. No, don't say that, because then we won't get tortured that way.
Oh, yeah. I take it back. That is a horrible idea. Do not do that.
No, it's the worst. Anywho. Let's move on. Would you rather use runes or use lesser magics?
I like the idea of runes. I mean, it's really super convenient to, have magic pens and have lights turn on whenever I walk in a room. Like, that's super convenient. But I don't know, using runes seems like it would be more difficult to do and therefore more fun. Like, you got to figure it out. What does this rune mean? How does this work? Am I accidentally going to make something explode? Probably. But I don't know. It seems like fun. I want to try it out.
Yeah, it feels like it's I honestly thought, is she crocheting with the knot tying and stuff?
Yeah.
So it's like a rune's just crocheting. And I don't mind a bit of crafting.
Sure.
I think crafts are fun.
Yeah.
So let's learn runes. Mm-hmm. Let's see what we can do with them. Let's see if we can make things explode.
Yeah. Challenge accepted.
We could make our VIP library card with runes.
We could. There it is. There it is, Claire. It's perfect.
Kickstarter will be out next year.
Yes. Okay. Would you rather participate in the dropped in the middle of the woods lesson or the search in the caves for things lesson?
Oh, it looks either ways. I'm just gonna, I don't know, I think I'm not really either of them fun, so let's just drop us in the middle of the woods. At least then, if I need to go to the toilet, there's a convenient bush.
Sure.
There might be streams for water.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go in the caves. I like the idea of caves. I'm gonna search.
I've seen
in the
too many
caves.
horror movies set in caves.
I like them though, and like being dropped in the middle of the woods. Like with that, we don't go into a whole lot of detail in the summary about it, but they are dropped in the middle of the woods with like infantry cadets. So you've got this whole other group of assholes who think they're really, really great. That you don't know. They're not dragon riders. They're just regular, like, meathead grunts. And you gotta work well with them immediately. I don't know. I don't like it. And at least with the search in caves for things, like Kat was there and Sloane with Violet, but at least you know them already. So I'm gonna search in caves. Also, Andarna was there.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have Tern or Andarna as your dragon?
I don't want to answer this question because I feel like it's like revealing the future. And I don't want to lose Tern for any reason whatsoever. I think as much as I love Andarna, I think that I want to keep Tern. I want to ride Tern. Tern knows a lot of stuff. And even though Andarna is amazing and powerful and brand new type of dragon, yay, I don't know. I just want to like be besties with Andarna and have Tern as my partner because he knows.
I 100% agree with that. Like, Tern has this very similar personality where it's like, oh, fuck's sake, you know, you can't be arsed with fools, and a bit grumbly and skeptical about life. And I relate hard to Tern. Andarna is very young still.
Yeah.
Very full of energy.
Yeah.
And as nice as that is, that's somebody I'd like to hang out with, not necessarily have that dragon bond with.
Right? Yeah, it's like
at the moment.
It's like I don't want to have a kid of my own, but I will hang out with your kid for a little while. You can take him back.
Well, exactly.
I'll hang out with Andarna. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure things are going to change. And we already love Andarna and we already love Tern, so either one is fine.
Yeah, exactly. We're not saying that we don't like the other one.
Right.
We're just saying Tern can handle my bouquet.
Yes.
Andara can't.
Right.
I want to ride my goddamn dragon, and Tern will be able to take it. Andarna cannot at the moment.
Right.
So I want to go dragon riding and go flying, so it's gonna have to be Tern.
Yep. All right. If you liked this, try this. What are you going to suggest?
I went to my bookshelf.
Oh.
I went to my bookshelf. And look at that pretty spread edge.
That is a beautiful edge.
And also, it's signed.
That is beautiful.
The book itself is just plain orange, but that's nice. Anywho, it's called Fushi's Wrath by Emily Varga. I just like the fact that in the back it just has on back it just says vengeance really big.
Yeah, we like that.
Exactly. It sounds fun. It's going to be a #tenuous link. I have not read this one yet. I just went to our bookshelf. I was like, what do I want to read that looks cool? And then I picked this one up. I was like, yeah, it looks cool. It's got the word wrath in the title. Unleashed by Fury. Yeah, let's go for it.
Yep.
So this is the summary from the book. What if the man you loved was the very person who betrayed you? So I kind of think, actually,
it wasn't Xaden.
Exactly, but it's not too much of a tenuous link. Because it's betrayals of trust, potentially. Let's read some more sentences.
Yeah.
Danya has been betrayed by her lover and falsely imprisoned for a crime she didn't commit. She's counting down the days until she can exact her revenge when a fellow prisoner offers a chance to escape and the keys to dangerous djinn magic. Armed with a brand new identity and all the power she could want, Danya enacts a plan to bring down those who cheated her and her family. But when the one person standing in her way is the very man who signed her life away, retribution becomes a complicated game of cat and mouse. Because betrayal isn't simple and revenge certainly isn't easy, but when your heart is involved... ... I just adore the fact it's got the words of betrayal and revenge and vengeance and retribution, and the fact that she's got this power as well that she didn't expect, which is the same as Violet in some ways. So it is a hashtag tenuous link, but it sounds bloody good.
Yeah. I like it. Sounds good.
What have you got?
I am going to suggest one that I read a few months ago. It's called So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. And spoiler alert, everyone. Dragons. Farron Vincent can channel the power of the gods. 5 years ago, she used her divine magic to liberate her island from its enemies, the dragon-riding Langley Empire. But now, at 17, Farron is all powered up with no wars to fight. She's a legend to her people and a nuisance to her neighbors. When she's forced to attend an international peace summit, Farron expects she will perform tricks like a trained pet and then go home. She doesn't expect her older sister, Alara, forming an unprecedented bond with an enemy dragon, or the gods claiming the only way to break that bond is to kill her sister. As Farron's desperation to find another solution takes her down a dark path and Alara discovers the shocking secrets at the heart of the Langley Empire, both must make difficult choices that will shape each other's lives, as well as the fate of their world. So that one it's definitely 100% more YA than Fourth Wing and Iron Flame are. But it was a very interesting take. I really appreciated the gods that are in this world. It's a very cool and interesting concept for a book with dragons. You think, oh, it's dragons. Well, everyone's going to write about dragons now. It's a different take on it, and it's really interesting.
Excellent. Do you like books with dragons in them?
Yeah.
Do we have a new indie spotlight with dragons?
No dragons, unfortunately. But it is another book from Red Tower. Red Tower is the publishing imprint for Fourth Wing. So it's going to be good. This one is called Bloodguard by C.C. Robson, and it actually came out in October. But I mean, it's Red Tower book, so go get it. 100 years, tens of thousands of gladiators, and today only one will rise. Everything in the kingdom of Arrow is a lie. Leith of Grey thought coming to this new land and volunteering to fight in the gladiator arena, vicious, bloodthirsty tournaments where only the strongest survive, would earn him enough gold to save his dying sister. He thought there was nothing left to lose. He was wrong, and they took everything: his hope, his freedom, his very humanity. All Leith has left is his battle-scarred body, fueled by rage and hardened from years of fighting for the right to live another day. Then Leith meets Maeve, an elven royal who is everything he despises, everything he should hate, until the alluring princess offers him the one thing he needs most, a chance to win the coveted title of Bloodguard and his freedom. But in a kingdom built on secrets and lies, hope doesn't come cheap, nor will his ultimate revenge. I really like the sound of this one, Claire, because there is a male protagonist. Male protagonist.
I was looking at the sexy cover and the sprayed edge versions on Google there. Very pretty, very pretty.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Silent Night by R.L. Stine. Booyah! It's the 90s, yo! Look out for our Would You Rather polls and monthly challenges on social media. Don't forget about our book club on Discord. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
Yay!
Claire, 2 hours and 38 minutes. That was fucking brilliant. I am going to try my goddamned hardest to make it exactly 2 hours and 30 minutes long. Just so you know.
Mine says 2 hours 29.
Really? Well, I was talking about the Zoom recording.
Oh, interesting.
I'm gonna try.
Interesting.
I'm gonna try my damnedest to make it happen, even if that means like slowing down our voices at some point.
There's a lot that you can take out where it's the book club challenge block, because I'll fuck up that so many times. So yeah.
It's gonna be real close.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com and follow us on all social media at Fictional Hangover. If you like this episode, check out our others and be sure to rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for listening.